Hey fam, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome and buckle up because around here we grow, we glow, and we do it with a little bit of intentionality. My name is Carol the author, and I am here to help you elevate your mindset, protect your peace, and help you to step into your power unapologetically. So today's video we are unpacking yet another chapter from my baby, The Perfect Paintbrush, and this chapter is titled Keep Swimming. Yes, keep swimming. So, from my previous video, I said that I started developing and building my relationship with the Lord, right? And trust you me, that was a very, very beautiful thing I've ever done for myself. And the realization that God had already started working in my life left me in admiration and very happy. I had already begun seeing the beauty of having a relationship with God. And I will say it again, this was one of the best things that has ever happened to me. So my relationship with God was somewhat at a bad place, right? Because, like I said before, I used to neglect the Lord in everything. Nichi, and it. I knew and I believed that God was there. I knew and I believed that God was there, but I never took the time to, establish a firm relationship, a firm personal relationship with the Lord. Church taitoyenda, she said taitoita, but kutoita builds that, being intentional with the connection and the intimacy with God, that was not there. One of my friends asked me like during our final semester, and she said, "Who is God to you?" Like, Madam Borichi. And that question triggered a lot, and it made me think and meditate. And after so many days of thinking about it, I realized that God can be anything I want him to be. He can be my father, healer, protector, my peace, my friend. He can literally be anything. My provider. So how we see God and whom we perceive God to be in our lives determines the type of relationship that we have with him. Because if I see God as my friend, then it's easier for me to go to him with everything, good things, bad things. If I see him as a provider, I know I can ask and I'll be given. I know I can if I see him as my peace, I know when I'm troubled and when I'm going through the most, God can give me that peace. And so being aware of the relationship we have with God can help us understand everything that happens in our lives, and it also help us deal with situations that we face in our day-to-day lives. Oh, the verse accompanying this this chapter is Jesus looked at them and said, "With men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible." Matthew 19 verse 26. So letting God be anything I want him to be in my life made my life so much easier, and it made it easy for me to confide in him, to tell him anything, to open up to him, to have honest, raw, and authentic conversations with him. However, the most difficult part now, to believe and to trust that God is in control. That was not easy, especially after having not especially after being distant with him and not having a firm relationship with the Lord. Trusting Kuti, God is in control, that was not easy. All I'm trying to say is, yes, I was building a relationship with the Lord, but part of me was doubtful. And the way I always talk about not having doubt, you see, I've grown, because back then I used to doubt a lot. So after I began my journey, I was pretty much excited, and I started thinking, Tim, what is going to come through instantly? My situation is just going to take a 360 turn and change from bad to good. But it was not like that. And here I wrote that I literally thought my prayers were going to be instantly answered, my problems were quickly going to disappear, and fear via visqua, while peace and joy would quickly, get into my life. I had high expectations, and I would literally talk to myself and say, now that I'm in a close relationship with you, God, answer my prayers and answer them fast. So now it seemed like I was building this relationship just so I can ask, and be given, fast, 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 fast. Like I literally just wanted everything to be fast, but God is not like that. God works in his own time. Right? So I was having these expectations because I had been through the most. And honestly, I just wanted change in my life. I wanted positive things. I wanted good things. I wanted beautiful things to happen. But I was wrong. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels like that. When you start building a relationship with the Lord, you expect miracles to happen instantly. You expect to see change instantly. But the beautiful thing about God is He's such a great listener, and He's listening to everything that we're telling Him, and everything that we're talking to Him about. This world that we're living in, right? Things are happening so fast, developments are happening so fast, and we would expect the same to happen with our spiritual lives. But it's not like that. When building a relationship with God, it takes time, it takes patience. It's not like mwana vakho vanenge vatoripo, but my expectations athethi nawo ekuthi zvinhu zvokufana kuti ndatanga kunamata nhasi ndobva ndatoexpecta kuti mangwana kana ndotoexpecta kuti in the next 10 minutes I'm supposed to be having my answer. It doesn't work like that. It's different and it hurts and it's not answer, but it's just how it is. Despite knowing that God is always at work in our lives and always with us, protecting us, guiding us, leading us, sometimes it appears as if He is asleep and He is not doing anything, but and He is working. When I realized and understood that things don't quickly change as I wanted them to, I knew that all I had to do was continue trusting in God. It was in these times that I knew that all I had to do was to keep swimming. To keep on swimming means that when circumstances and situations are not changing, there is no need to quit. Instead, we need to keep praying, believing, and trusting. I knew that at the end of the day, things do not even happen because I want them to, and even more importantly, when I want them to take place and how. The more we comprehend this, the less we get disappointed by our own expectations, because sometimes we do have ridiculous expectations. So this chapter, I was just simply saying that you need to keep swimming. Ipapo pacho, when you are praying, when you are building a relationship with God and things seem not to be changing or things seem to be getting worse, what you have to do is keep on swimming, because if you stop swimming, you're going to drown. And you don't want to go back, so you have to keeping on, right? You have to keep swimming. And not only like in our relationship with the Lord, but even when we are working towards our dreams, when we're working towards our goals, sometimes it gets really difficult. Sometimes we don't have the motivation, we don't have the zeal. Sometimes we're just tired and we're just exhausted. But keep swimming. I'm not saying overwork yourself or overload yourself. Keep swimming, keep putting in the work, keep being intentional, keep building daily habits that will eventually grow into, a big result in order to achieve your dreams. Makanaka mwari, makanaka. So sometimes we become engulfed in wanting to see the big changes. We want to see the massive change, and we ignore the small things that are happening. Unozati unogona ngokutarisira a big thing, but ukignore ukuthi now you are able to wake up every day at 5 a.m. and do what you want to do. Maybe you used to struggle with waking up early, and now that you're able to wake up early, you're not seeing that and you're not acknowledging that, because wow, this change is actually happening. So don't be like that. Let me read this to you. Remember this: when you are not seeing the change you expect, be open-minded enough to see the change that is happening. Auntie, I mentioned Kuti, I used to sell clothes before, and I expected to see change in my business. And that did not happen when I wanted to. Instead, other things happened. Mwari, business yangu ngarifambe chichindwa nemakastoma ndizokwanisa kuhodha business iri kure. Whilst I was praying for that, and inini manje mind yangu yange yango focused on that, I didn't realize that I was now in a better place. I felt peaceful, I was happy, and I was just in a good place despite that business yanga siri kufamba. I didn't acknowledge kuti ma changes aya ari kuitika. So ndo zvimwe zvezvinhu zvinoita kuti uone kunge pasina zviri kuitika, but zvinhu zviri kutoitika. So keep swimming, keep swimming, okay? So when you acknowledge the small changes that are happening, right, it helps you to keep on swimming. So let's be intentional in our lives. Let's not just look at the big things, but also take note of the small changes, the small wins, because those to move forward. And so whilst you keep on swimming, ask God for patience. Ask God kutivabvise my doubts mukati meupenyu hwako, because you are swimming with intention. You are swimming with trust. You're swimming, having the faith that God is working. Keep swimming in prayer and have faith that God will lead you to the harbor. Keep swimming in prayer and have faith that God will always lead you to a very, very good place. So remember that God not only shows up, but he shows off too. He always does it big in ways unexpected. And, he reiterates in his word that now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us. That is in Ephesians 3 verse 20. So whenever you feel like God has neglected you, remember that he is your safe haven, and he will always keep you safe. He will always be there for you. So keep swimming. You just have to keeping on, even though the shore is still out of sight. You just have to keep swimming, even though the shore is still out of sight. Sometimes we get spiritually weak, and we feel like we're not growing in our relationship with God. Yes, we're humans, and that is expected. But we just need to be able to pick ourselves up. Toramba tichiswima tichienda. It's not easy, but it has to be done. We have to gather the little strength and keep swimming, because God is alive and working. So before I learned the art of swimming in prayer, so I'm encouraging you today. Swimming in prayer is and will always be the number one solution in a bowl of many options, no matter how much we may try to deny it. So keep swimming. We all find comfort in different ways. We are all created differently, and we ought to know how to get a lasting source of comfort. But I want you to remember that keep swimming in prayer, keep being faithful, faith-filled. Don't lose hope. If there's a journey that you are on and sometimes you feel like it's getting hard, you feel like you can't do it, you start doubting yourself, keep swimming on, because you will definitely get there and you will be proud of yourself. So we have come to the end of this chapter. Until next time, bye.